Good morning. Well, I apologize because I cannot be present today. I got a compromise that I couldn't skip. So we decided to record the presentation and I hope it will be useful. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me. You have it here, my email address. So just drop me an email and I'll be happy to answer. As you know, the proof of concepts are related to main grant. So in my case, I will present the CO2 sink proof of concept, which was related to the starting grant GeoRest. So I will start by briefly explaining what GeoRest is about. So to reduce ship emissions, the subsurface will play a key role. On the one side, by and producing renewable energy from geothermal resources, and on the other hand, to carbonize the industrial sector, the hard-to-abate industry, by capturing the CO2 from the industry and before emitting it to the atmosphere to transport and inject it deep underground in suitable geological formations. The main problem or limitation of these technologies is that they need to inject fluids and these may induce earthquakes, and the rest aims at predicting and controlling these induced seismicity. So for those of you that are from Spain, you will probably remember the case of Castor, this underground gas storage project offshore in front of Castellón, which induced several earthquakes with magnitude larger than 4, and the project was eventually cancelled. Another well-known example is the Pohang in South Korea. It was an geothermal system project which induced the largest earthquake in the geothermal project with a magnitude of 5.5. You can see here that it was damaging. There were some structures uh, partially failing, but fortunately there were no fatalities. And this project was also cancelled after the main earthquake. So this seismicity is an issue, and if we really want to reach net net zero emissions, we will need to learn how to manage this induced seismicity. And then during this starting run, I got the opportunity to have a new collaboration, which was unexpected. So it was not in the planning of the ERC proposal. And this new collaboration introduced me to the relatively new world of super hot geothermal systems in the volcanic area. I was proposed to investigate the induced seismicity potential of these super hot systems, and we found very interesting results in the sense that instead of being the pore pressure changes that were inducing seismicity in the system, so that could induce, are the cooling. So these systems are at very high temperature. When we reinject cold fluids, we cool down the rock, and this cooling, as it progressively advances, eventually can lead to induced earthquakes. And investigating these systems brought us to realize that at these conditions, CO2, instead of being buoyant, so when we inject the CO2 in sedimentary formations, which is what is currently being done worldwide, the CO2 is buoyant, so it tends to float, and this is, and therefore we need barriers, or permeability barriers, that prevent the CO2 from reaching the surface. And in these super hot geothermal systems, in the volcanic areas, we realize that the CO2 becomes denser than the supercritical water, and therefore so here you can see in this simulation we inject the CO2 instead of floating and tending to migrate upwards. It just sinks and advances through the bottom of the reservoir. And so from the ERC, we were able to propose a new CO2 storage concept that is safer in terms of reducing the CO2 leakage risk compared to conventional systems. And from this new concept, I try to prepare an ERC proof of concept to investigate the potential commercialization of this new concept of CO2 storage. Then I will explain you a bit about how I prepared the proposal and some recommendations for you when you prepare your proposal. So I think it's very important that when you write the proposal, you remember that the objective is not to extend your research, but to perform the necessary activities to test, experiment, and validate the idea towards its commercialization. And within the proposal, you are asked to explain the demonstration of the breakthrough innovation potential. And here it's very important that you highlight the novelty with respect to existing solutions. Then you will also have to identify the risk. And here in this view, you can see the technical risk or scientific risk related to possibility of having leakage in the long term or potential induced seismicity that you could have in the systems. But don't forget to include the commercial risk, and I would also recommend to include the commercial risk at the top of the list, not at the bottom. And then you will need to develop your knowledge transfer strategy. Need the communication with the industry is very important, and it's also time consuming. And this is why probably you have enough resources, it may be convenient to consider adding a dedicated team member that will work on this communication with the industry, assess the intellectual property rights, provide the technology roadmap. So someone that is more related to business and science. Then the work plan that you will need to prepare, it should be scheduled for 12 months, but the good news for you is that if you get the grant, you will have 18 months to complete the project, so you will have flexibility. The resources are fixed, it's 150,000 euros, but you will have some more time to perform all the activities. In my case, I was proposing a work package devoted to technical and performance validations, more scientific aspects to advance in the knowledge that we had, which was very limited. And then another work package on knowledge transfer, and a third work package on dissemination and communication of results. And I think it's very important that in the knowledge transfer work package, you start the activities from the very beginning. Don't leave them towards the end of the project, because you may get criticism that you will not have enough time to perform all the tasks properly. Then for the team, you will be there as principal investigator. Most likely you will propose a postdoc for the technical and scientific part. And as I was mentioning, if you can, you may consider including someone with master science and more devoted to business in order to engage with the external world and assess the potential commercialization of your idea. And just a tip for you as principal investigator, You don't need to include explicitly the dedication that you are going to devote to the project, but if it's significant, let's say higher than 25%, I recommend you to explicitly include because it will be valued highly. But if it's relatively small, it may be penalized, so it's better not to include. And since it's not compulsory, they cannot really criticize for that. So for instance, in my case, I committed 90% of my time to the starting grant, so I could only devote 10% to this proof of concept. So I didn't include my dedication to the project. And just to finalize, my two tips would be first to be persistent. So be prepared for submitting the proposal because the success rate is decreasing in the last years. So don't give up. More likely, the first time you may get rejected or don't get enough scores to have the project, but just insist, improve the proposal based on the comments that you will receive, and by keep trying, you will most likely eventually get it. And then also remember that the aim is to explore the commercialization potential and not to advance the research. And with this, yes, I conclude. I want to wish you good luck, and if you have any questions, you can just write me an email. Thanks.